Greetings once again. It's a pleasure to be back again for this particular session that we're going to talk about designing a fit-for-purpose organization within a pharmaceutical organizational structure. That is the focus of what we're doing. So this particular episode is inspired by a discussion that I had with a friend of mine. And this particular friend was looking at how to structure and restructure an organization that they're working in with a focus on ensuring they deliver their mandate as an organization and achieve the success that we all wish for. And that success, when we look at it from a pharma organization, the bit is, one, we need to ensure that we're promoting and supporting patients in their healthcare journey. And supporting them in their healthcare journey means we're making them able to access medicines and healthcare solutions that they need. That is on one end. And on the other end, we are looking at making the business sustainable, which means we need to have revenue streams that are sustainable in terms of the profitability of the organization and looking at the return on investment for each and every intervention that we're doing. So in terms of that, what we look at in terms of the organizational structuring is we need to get the sufficient number of employees or people who are going to work with us in our organization that will ensure that, one, we're able to meet the needs of our clients. Two, they're able to help us sustain the business in terms of creating value. Are they making an impact in terms of delivery of our mandate? If there are people who are, let's say, for example, marketing individuals, are they able to make us get value for the marketing efforts? Are they able to create leads, create business for the market organization? Then other than that, in terms of the number and the ability to create value, we are looking at them. Are they able to interface with other entities within the organization so that we drive that market value that we are hoping for? And then finally, we are not employing so many people that at the end of the day will eat into our bottom line as an organization that might make us not be sustainable. For example, if you have 10 employees and these people are able to bring money to the company, and at the end of the day, when you're looking at the bottom line, you're already actually using the entire amount of money plus more to pay their salaries, then it means the business is not sustainable. You'll always be looking for alternative revenue streams to sustain the business operations. So those are all the dynamics that come into your business. One, as a business person, as an organization, you need to ensure you're able to meet your mandate. And as much as you're able to meet your mandate, you're able to meet it in a sustainable way, because that makes business sense in terms of the money that you're generating as an organization. So on this account, I was keen about how do we design a fit-for-purpose organization, a fit-for-purpose pharma organization, and then designing a fit-for-purpose pharma organization in my case would be, one, we need to start from a point of knowing what is our mandate as an organization, what is our mission. Being a pharmacist by profession, I would be more inclined to what is our place in the pharmaceutical industry, and pharmaceutical sector generally. I would be looking at it as our mandate, our key role and key space of operation is to improve access to medicines and healthcare solutions that support people in their healthcare journey. And when I talk about it in that particular dimension, I'm looking at from the pharmaceutical supply chain component. We need to ensure that we're able to optimize pharmaceutical supply chain, people get the right medicines, the right diagnostics, all the pharmaceutical products and technologies that they need to be able to achieve the positive health outcomes they wish for. So that is our first role. Then the second role in terms of the pharmaceutical services, that is the pharmaceutical care models. Are we able to intervene in terms of patient safety? Are we able to intervene in terms of optimizing therapy? And the mission of all these is to ensure we are supporting our patients and stakeholders in their healthcare journey to ensure they can live healthy lives. And when they're not healthy, they get the support they need to get back, to regain their health. So that is our mission. And to be able to do that after we've identified our mission as an organization, the next bit would be, how do we achieve that mandate or realize that mission? And when you get to that other aspect now where we're looking at how do we realize that mission or achieve that mandate, the focus for us as an organization is in which particular domain across the pharmaceutical value chain are we playing? In what is my role? If I'm dealing with a pharmaceutical manufacturer, then their role is in pharmaceutical manufacturing, production of medicines. Once they produce the medicines, they would be looking at maybe, let's say, registering it in a market where they'll now look at the regulatory component. So there's a manufacturer. Other than that, we have the distributors. Once they manufacture and register in a particular country, then the distributors and the wholesalers come in. Their role is in the wholesale and the distribution model, where they look at bridging the gap from the manufacturing entity and taking it to the point of care, which is either hospital or pharmacy outlet, community pharmacies. So that is also where they play. When we're looking at it as a pharma organization working in the retail or community pharmacy, or even in a hospital setting, you are at the point of care. Your intervention will also be key in that particular domain. So how do you achieve that mandate is specific to the business that you're doing. And being specific to the business that you're doing, if you're a manufacturer, How do you achieve that mandate of improving access to medicine and healthcare solutions to support patients in their journey? By producing quality medicines that meet the needs of the population. And when I talk about meeting the needs of the population, if my focus is on supplying a particular market, let's say, for example, a country X, which has a high burden of diabetes, there's no need for me to produce antimalarials for a diabetic endemic region, if that is my target market. Therefore, I need to be able to produce quality medicine because the quality is critical in helping the patients achieve the positive outcomes that we're hoping for. And other than knowing that we have to achieve the positive outcomes in terms of quality, we need to produce medicines that meet their needs. The patients in that location have that need. Then once we look at that, we are now able to design our solution and deliver on that. If you're a pharmaceutical, let's say a community pharmacy, then how do you achieve that mandate? To realize that mission to support the patients in their journey, you need to stock medicines that serve their need. They're diabetic medicine, they have a high burden of diabetes in that region. You need to stock diabetic medicine. You need to stock diagnostic machines and equipments, like for example, the glucometers that we use, to ensure that patients who have a risk can be able to monitor their blood sugar levels. So are you stocking them? Then other than just stocking the medicines and the diagnostic and the monitoring equipment, are you able to offer them additional pharmaceutical care services in that space? So it's about you now, after knowing what your mandate is, you go to the next phase where you're looking at how do I do it? So that you design interventions and solutions as an organization that will enable you to do that. And that is where, for example, if I'm looking at this from a pharma company perspective, I'm going to produce medicine, that is how I'm achieving it. Then if my role is in terms of producing the medicines, then I need to look at, after producing the medicines, how do they get to the market? I have to ensure the regulatory approval is in place. After regulatory approval, I need to get it to the market, which means I need to look for potential distributors and wholesalers who can help me get the medicines to the market. Once that is done, now you go to the specifics of how you're going to do it in terms of the activities you need to do to achieve that mission. So after knowing what your mandate is, and then knowing your core business, how do you achieve that mandate is your core business? I'm a wholesaler, a distributor, a community pharmacy, an NGO, or even a pharmaceutical manufacturer. Then go to the activities, the specific, the breakdown of what you're going to do. And that is where you look at what activities do you need to do as an individual, as a stakeholder in the space to achieve that mission, that is improving access to medicine, healthcare solutions that support people in their healthcare journey. And we all acknowledge that for medicines to get to people, for example, when working in the pharma industry, for medicines to get to the people, they have to be produced, and the production has to be robust in terms of the quality assurance measures. From a pharmacy background, we all understand that. Then once they are produced, they're meeting the quality, we need to register them in the respective markets where we hope to sell them. We hope to make them accessible to patients. Then once we already know that the regulatory aspect has to be done, then once they are registered, they need to be imported. The import will be dependent on a market. If I'm going to deal with a distributor, I'm not sure they'll ever accept a medicine that has no need in the market. Therefore, we'll have to drive the marketing aspect. And in marketing, we have to look at what are the distribution channels, and who are the key people that we need to engage with. Their physicians, the prescription-only medicines, with their pharmacies and the pharmacy-only medicines. And then we can now look at it from over-the-counter. That is where we're reaching direct to the consumer, the fast-moving consumer goods, over-the-counter medicines that are supposed to be used in self-care and related aspects in terms of the patient decision. So how do we get to them? We need to create awareness and look at the touch points of where they are. Then once we've known what we need to do in terms of marketing, we have in terms of regulatory aspects. If you're a pharma company, production, do you have the production equipment and all that? Then you now look at, for each and every of the activities that we've mentioned, from production, regulatory aspect, quality assurance, pharmacovigilance, and patient safety, in terms of, let's say, for example, in a community pharmacy outlet, you need to know that you have somebody who will be managing the supply chain in terms of stocking and maintenance of that inventory management. Then this person who is going to be dealing with clients in terms of dispensing and all that. Then the patient counseling aspect might be the same person, but there are key activities that they have to do. Every morning you have to do stock review in the evening before you go from the pharmacy to ensure that all the medicines that are normally used, where there's a need, for example, you sold all the particular paracetamol that you had, the batch of paracetamol, then you need to make an order, or if you've reached the reorder level, you need to make an order in the evening. In the following morning, when you come in, you receive orders based on your agreement with your suppliers so that happens. Then in the course of the day, you have to know how many clients do we normally have at that hour. There might be some fluctuations and related, which you need to be able to respond to. Then once you've known that, every day you come and see, I'll be dispensing the over-the-counter medicines. When there's a clinical case that I need to offer additional pharmaceutical care, this is how the flow should be. So I have clear activity that I need to do and support the patients in that journey. In some of the cases, you could even specifically designate your clinic days, where for those clinic days, you'd say, on every Thursday or every Friday, I'll be having diabetic clinics, or a Saturday, I'll be having diabetology clinics, where I'll have patients who are living with diabetes coming to the clinic for additional support in terms of monitoring and diagnostics, therapy optimization, medication therapy monitoring, medicines reconciliation services, and you now know the activities. Once you know the activities, now design the structure in terms of these are the activities, this is the flow. We have to start from production, registration, distribution, marketing, and ultimately it gets to the patient and we optimize the supply chain. Those are the processes. And how many people do we need to do each of the roles? Once you've identified the number of people, you've already known, you know what needs to be done, you know how many people you need to do it, and you also know the qualifications and the skill sets that are needed for such a person to do such a job. So you already have an idea of which people you do. Then now in that case, design the job descriptions of these particular people, look at the skill sets and all. Then once you do that, the other key bit that we normally actually from the organization that I've been looking at, the model that I'm looking to study into, one of the things that we miss is looking at the communication channels. For a fit for purpose organization, we understand for every machine, every organization, every structure to work, there is need for information flow to and fro. And that is why even when we're talking about the place of digital technologies, digital solutions and related, it's about information moving from one point to the other, where the next person will make ultimate use out of that information to make a decision or to put in place an intervention. In organizations, we need flow of information. Let's say, for example, from a pharma company perspective, I'm producing medicines. If that is the case, then I need to be able to interface with the marketing team who understands the dynamic of the market. They know the disease patterns, they know the physician they talk to, who will also tell them, by the way, over this period, this number of disease conditions are the ones that we've been dealing with. So if you're going to serve that market, you need to produce this particular class of medicines and not the alternative one. That is information. You need to have that information flowing to your commercial teams, who are the marketing teams, and the commercial teams having that information need to inform the regulatory team that the regulatory team does not register medicine that are not relevant for that market. And then the regulatory teams having the same information now relays it to the co-production lines so that the production is not for medicine that are not needed. So that from a high-level organizational perspective, a high viewpoint, strategic direction, we know for market A and B, we are going to produce painkillers and anti-diabetic medicines. Reason being, these are the most prevalent needs of the patients in terms of diabetic care and the pain management for the people who are in pain. Then if that is the case, if we are going to produce that, we need to compile the dossiers from a regulatory standpoint and register these medicines. Then we do the registration. Some of the cases where we have contract manufacturing, generic product producers and related, if we don't have that products in our portfolio yet, we need to reach out to the other manufacturers so that we get the agreement. We sign agreements to be able to produce based on that initial formulation, the patented or the organization or the company, so that we have the rights to produce the medicine. Once we get the rights, we get the dossier, we now compile it from a regulatory standpoint, register the medicine, and introduce it in the market. Then once we get to the regulatory, during the regulatory review process, you now start creating a market. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about the sustainability of your business, is about designing a solution that is going to meet that market need and creating market for it to be sustainable. And therefore, if you know, for example, in a year, you normally take 12 months for the product to be registered in a market, you'd give it the first 6 months after the initial screening and evaluation of a dossier, where you're now expecting the final result to come out in terms of approval of the medicine. You can already start creating market by talking to physicians, talking to pharmacists about the product that you're bringing into the market, what specific segment you're looking at, whether it's a high-end, the high socioeconomic in terms of the patented products, or it's a generic low cost, and looking at the quality measure that you're bringing into the market. So you already start talking about what you're bringing in the market and looking at how to engage stakeholders to see what is the ideal market fit for it. Once you have that communication channels in place, then you now look at the functional structures, functional operations. Are we able to operate within that dynamic? What are the probable changes that are likely to come? Who are the financing entities? And that is where now, even in terms of your operational access strategy and the related, you can look at who are the financing organization, health insurance companies, the National Hospital Insurance Fund, for example, in Kenya, NHIF, the patients themselves, the out-of-pocket spending, water-related, another thing. Then synergistic engagements across the extremes. That is where you look at who are the other players. For example, when you talk about cancer care, we have NCD Alliance of Kenya, which is a patient support group and related organizations that are looking at promoting access to NCD's management and care solutions. So if that is their target market, how do you collaborate with them? How do you create a market where they are supporting you in terms of delivering your mission, but at the same time, they are your partners in designing that solution to serve the market? So once you do that, you recruit the team, and after recruitment of the team, you need to have the initial onboarding in delivering that solution. The initial onboarding has to encompass robust training, let them understand the mandate of your organization, what is your overview mission, and how do you intend to achieve it based on the role that you play, your core functionality, whether distributor, wholesaler, retail pharmacy, primary healthcare center, and all that. Then what activities are they being brought in to do? Because unless they know what their role is, they will not be able to deliver on it. Then once you make it open, create a culture of continuous improvement to ensure you are always on a move to deliver on the activities that you're specifically doing at the highest level, that is operational efficiency. And that operational efficiency is linked to your core business mandate. Then ultimately, you're able to achieve your successes. And that is what I look at when I think about designing a fit for purpose organization. You need to know the purpose. You need to know what is your core business in that space. What are the activities that are key in helping you deliver that mandate? Then what are the skills that are needed in the performance of each of the activities? Once you know that, you are able to transform the activities to get the right people, position the activities to get the right people to do the work, communication channels in place where the regulatory will interface with the marketing team interfacing with the development strategic level. And therefore we have a seamless, functional, operational, synergistic ecosystem that is enabling you as an organization to perform your mandate and to deliver the care that you hope to deliver. And with that, I believe I've shared some of the insights that are critical for us. And in some of the cases, if you have any additional comments, additional inquiries that you need to get additional support, I'll be more than glad to support you in that journey. Reach out to us at africanpharmanetwork@gmail.com. We'll be able to support you. If you find this video resourceful for you, insightful, please share with your colleagues in the pharma industry and anybody who is willing to come into the space. We have areas of collaboration and see how we structure those. Finally, if you find it amazing, let's promote learning. Like, subscribe, and share with your peers. Thank you so much.